Hello, I'm Dr. Heidi Hoke, and first,
Vibrational perspectives.
why do
Yes.
I do that?
I love it.
Vibrational perspectives. It's always vibrational frequencies.
Yes.
Frequencies of perfection or whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, we are on Vibrational Perspectives, VP from Vitae Pondera, Institute of Integrated Health.
Yes.
We welcome you today, and I'm here with my co-host Lori Vick, and we're just going to have another fun day talking about natural health and natural solutions to conditions. We're going to take a different topic every week. This week we're going to do migraines, and
Yes.
Lori and I both have a lot to say about that because we both have been at some time pretty intense sufferers of some intense migraines. But anyway, Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Tell us what your thoughts are for this week.
Thank you for having me, Heidi. And I love it that we're at the Vitae Pondera Library right now.
We are.
This is such a comfort zone for both of us. We've had many coffee talks on these exact couches and chairs here, and with our coffee that we talked last week. I know I'm not sharing my thoughts on migraines right now because I did just want to deviate for a moment and say we talked about you roast your own coffee beans last time when we did our show last time, and it's absolutely amazing coffee. And I just want to call that to the attention of anybody who watched us last time because we're drinking that coffee right now, and it's so good.
Thank you. David and I share a mutual interest in being coffee snobs.
Yes, we are
all
connoisseurs of
snobs.
coffee. Yes,
We are. And so we buy our green beans organic,
yes,
green, unroasted, in huge, big 25-pound bags at a time. And we go through that about a week.
Look, depending on how often I come over for coffee,
Yes,
right?
right. So anyway, we've got 25 pounds of that, and so we roast that in our home. And David's really good about keeping me supplied with the most recent, most technologically savvy coffee roaster.
I love
it. We do have fun sharing that.
Yes, in terms of coffee talk.
Or you can do it over fire.
Yes.
You know, you can get real simple and true and authentic and naturopathic.
Yes.
And holistic, and you can just use fire.
Elitist. A little elitist when it comes to coffee drinking. But those things in mind, amazing coffee for some amazing conversation in a very amazing place for both of us, our comfort zone.
About migraines.
Yes, and we're going to talk about migraines, which is a very uncomfortable topic.
Coffee is great for migraines.
Yes, so great segue because caffeine is one of the tools that we will talk about today to help manage migraines. So
tell me what's on your mind this week.
So on my mind, I really love to share things that we've established together through we've tested these things on our own bodies. Mm-hmm. We've experienced this feeling in our own lives. Mm-hmm. And I love that we're going to share it mm-hmm. in hopes that it reaches another life. Mm-hmm. I know so many, I'm going to say women, because I don't really know as many male migraine sufferers, but that doesn't mean they're not out there. I just haven't experienced many men that have migraines. But I know so many women, especially, that have reached out to me and asked me what to do about a migraine headache. Now that is your forte. You really...
I get a lot of clients.
Yes, you get a lot of clients. You shine most when the symptoms are the worst.
Thank you.
Yes.
I know. I just enjoy the salute. It's the challenge.
It is the challenge.
I'm much more challenged by things that I don't know than what I know.
Yes.
I mean, it's what I don't know that keeps me excited about my job.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes, it's a learning curve on every body because, as we've discussed before, every human body is so intricate and slightly different from the next one. Not one of us is made exactly like the other. And that's one thing we talk about in naturopathic medicine. We're not just treating all conditions the same. And we've used in the past the example that there are 10 different people with migraine headaches, all of which the symptoms of the migraine look the same, but the root cause of those migraine headaches may vary from one person to another. So one person may be experiencing their migraine headache as a result of autoimmune. Another might be experiencing as a result of something like muscular dystrophy or Parkinson's disease. Another may have been a traumatic brain injury, which is an external. But to have all of those, such wide range of underlying cause exhibit symptoms of a migraine headache, that's really where naturopathic medicine and allopathic medicine vary widely, because the treatment options and there are more than one way to skin a cat. There are more than one way to skin a cat, and we know that our way doesn't have to be the only way. I think that what you just said touches on that fact that you're willing to learn. You're always teachable. We're both always excited to learn something new. But to address the differences in the naturopathic way, which is to find the root cause of something, and an allopathic route, which would be to treat merely the symptom and suspend it in that state for as long as the body will tolerate it. We aren't just putting one formula or one pill or one homeopathic protocol on top of all those people that we mentioned that all have a migraine headache that looks the same. You would assess the diagnosis they already have been given, which is usually just the migraine.
Good, right.
Yes,
right.
Just the migraine. But allow for individual treatment so that treating the initial cause or symptom, which is the migraine, then lends itself to opening the door to actual healing of the reason that migraine is a symptom in the first place.
Right.
So we aren't just saying you have migraine headaches, we're going to treat those. But what we are saying is you have to treat the migraine to get to the root cause sometimes.
Right.
Because you can't.
Sometimes the way a migraine will respond to different circumstances will point you into the direction of the cause.
Yes.
But absolutely, Lori, you can treat a migraine short term on a very superficial level, but when push comes to shove, it really hasn't been addressed until you find the cause.
True.
And so 10 people could have a migraine, and each of them have a different cause. What is wonderful, we have some formulas here.
Yes.
That address pain.
Yes.
Might be a little bit early to get to these, but it seemed to kind of say what I was trying to say. So you respond to the migraine, but because there are so many the herbs in these formulas in micro doses, each of them have a different benefit.
Yes.
And so you have many herbs with many different benefits addressing not just the migraine, but the causation.
Right.
Per se.
Which are indicated for so many, a variety, maybe all. And so I think that leads us to our really first major point, and that is if somebody's watching and they are suffering from migraines, they want tools. They want tools now. How do I figure this out right now? What's my first step? The first step is to manage that pain, because we've discussed this and we both experienced it. That is, when you're in the midst of a migraine headache, functioning is not on the menu sometimes. Meaning, for me, it starts in my neck and feels like a vice grip. That's the beginning of a migraine headache for me. That is step one, and step two is pretty much 0 to 60, because now we're in bed. Really nauseous, sometimes throwing up is a symptom of intense pain, and sensitivity to light, all those things. when you're in the middle of that, you don't really, it's not that you don't care about the root cause, but it's really difficult to process information related to anything other than pain relief at that moment. And with that kind of brutal pain in your head, it's hard to know what to do for yourself. So for us to be able to give tools right now and then give, I don't know, offer some understanding, I think is important.
I think the key is to find the trigger. And what I have done in the past with myself is, and I tell my clients this also, from the time that you have that onset, you must look at the last 24 hours
Yes.
of what you smelled, what you've been exposed to environmentally, and what you've eaten, and the emotional state.
I like it.
How many times have we gotten a migraine? I think you'll remember this as a teenager. You've gotten a migraine headache from crying over the breakup of a boyfriend.
So true.
Okay?
Crying your eyes out.
Crying your eyes out.
Migraine.
It causes, okay, well, what's happening? What's really happening in our bodies? So our endocrine system is gone a lot. It sent our hormones a lot because it was involving relationships, and that's a hormonally based.
A fluctuation.
Right. So then that triggers a fight or flight response.
Yes.
That fight or flight totally makes the hormonal system in the brain and in the endocrine system totally go back.
Yes.
So then you have a inflammation due to inappropriate fight or flight response.
Yes, not doing anything with it.
Exactly. So you have all of that adrenaline, all that overproduction of endocrine hormones, and you get the inflammation.
Yes.
And then the inflammation causes
a
headache, cerebral inflammation.
Yes. So triggers can be emotional.
It can be anything.
Is what you're saying,
right.
And I love that you're saying that. Another trigger that we talked about food, excitotoxins. Talk about
that. Boy,
yes.
That's my high soapbox.
Yeah, I love that
it's got soapbox on top of soapbox. After just having anybody who knows me knows my story, and I won't go back into it. But MSG is extremely. I have a very ultra sensitivity to MSG, and there's about. Did you know that there's about 75 to 80 different chemicals in any kind of processed food that resembles chemically MSG or has MSG within it. So just to look for MSG on a label is just not that
doesn't
easy.
Cover it.
It doesn't cover it.
You can find that, but you're not finding some of the other names that it.
And I tell you, the big one is natural flavorings. Everybody sees the name natural, and FDA has actually considered MSG a natural chemical
because it's a derivative of
because
salt.
It's a derivative of salt, and it's not about the salt. I read a really disturbing blog, and I don't know enough about it to. I mean, I don't remember. It was quite a while ago, but I just remember it made me angry. It was entitled "You Are Not Allergic to MSG." Well, first of all, that's pretty presumptuous, making that generalization for everyone on the globe.
Yes.
But then the guy ends up talking more and more about sodium. It's not the sodium. It's the glutamate. He never addressed what glutamate does to the brain.
Yes. And
it fries it.
Yes.
It's not about sodium.
Yes.
So his argument was completely inappropriate because it's not about the sodium.
Right.
And you can talk all about, yes, it's completely invalid. So let's talk about what glutamate does to the brain. Glutamate is an
Neurotoxin.
In the glutamate form,
Yes.
it's a neurotoxin.
Yes.
But it has all different different chemical nuances that filter on down to glutamine, which is something completely different that our brain produces normally, which is okay.
Right.
It's what keeps the brain going. But what will happen is glutamate is like a, I would say it's a glutamine actor.
Right.
It's
An
playing the
imposter.
part, an imposter, and it creates toxicity, toxic responses within the brain through overexcitability.
Right. Which we said earlier, MSG is to salt as aspartame is to sugar in the sense that it's fake.
It's fake.
It's not correct, but your body doesn't recognize it's fake at first, so it draws it in as if it were natural occurring on the earth, if you will. And when it realizes that's not the case,
it's too late.
Yes, now neurons are so faked out, excitable, they explode.
Exactly.
And die.
That's exactly. And it absolutely kills nerve cells.
Kills nerve cells.
Brain cells.
Why do we do that? I want to just say MSG. It's in a lot of fast food. We're not going to pick on any one fast food joint.
No, you'd be hard pressed to find any that it's not.
You know what? Even if they say they don't have it, I don't always trust it.
Well, it'll be in the form of natural flavors or any of the other 75 different.
Because as we said, it's a preservative. Mm-hmm. So if it's something with a shelf life or something that has to be fed to the masses, if you will, it's not good for us. That's right.
I would challenge anyone to pick up anything processed and not have at least 2 to 3 ingredients contained or associated with it.
Yes.
I don't believe it's possible.
So if we know it's bad, why do we still do it? Why?
I don't know that it's a matter of choice. Sometimes I think it's people are just not aware of how prevalent it is, and are not aware of how much damage it does not only to the brain, not only to the neurological system or the nerve system, but to cardiovascular.
Yes.
It really reached our hormones, endocrine system.
Yes.
All of it.
An endocrine disruptor, really. Which means that's a salt derivative, and yet diabetes type 2 is actually linked to salt. Yes, to the consumption or ingestion of that. So
then we get into our inflammation because because that's the pattern. Oh, I want to mention the one thing that will help bypass or encapsulate or help protect neurological function in the midst of MSG is magnesium. Magnesium is a really, really vital supplement to take if you have a tendency toward food, hypersensitivity to food, but also any kind of neurological or behavioral conditions or neurobehavioral or neurodegenerative, things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all of those things.
MS, ND,
ADHD. Oh gosh, that's a big one. Autism. All of those are going to be very directly linked with magnesium because magnesium acts as the bridge keeper that folds the bridge up and down to allow glutamate, I'll say really, glutamine, because there's a difference, the glutamic acids into the brain for good, normal brain function. But when you have I'm going to say it's kind of bastardized form of what our brains produce.
A wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yes, a wolf in, yes,
because
that's exactly what it is.
It opens the door thinking it's glutamine. And once it arrives in the house, in the castle, that's when all hell breaks loose.
That's exactly what happens.
Yes.
That is so good.
Yes.
That is so good. So magnesium will help temper that
Yeah.
But you know, you can
Buffer it a
only
little bit.
buffer it, but you can only have to take as much magnesium as you can before you get, you know,
Overloaded.
overloaded with that. So the the moral of this lesson, I guess, is to keep the magnesium.
Yes, that's a really good tip.
Generally,
yes.
to just be able to combat being exposed maybe and you don't know. I can't eat in a restaurant at all without being aware that there may be some form
Yes, of
of exposure.
Yes.
People just don't know. They
Yes. So you're
don't.
triggered by the smell of it.
It
Food
can
with the
even
smell,
be, even
you're
if
actually
they can
triggered
be in
by
the
that.
steam. It
Yes.
can be in the steam that I breathe,
And
that's
are triggered.
enough to get into my
Into your body, and you have a reaction. And so, in terms of migraine headache trigger, that would be one of the big triggers is neurotoxin, like
Right.
MSG.
So
So we've
color?
got yes, flavorings and colorings. We've got stress. We talked about emotional trigger, crying your eyes out. We don't do anything with it. And some of the other triggers that we know to be the case, inflammation. I think you already touched on that.
Brain injury.
Yes, a brain injury, which is a traumatic instance, an injury to the body that's something broken, and that would be something a little like a lot different, but still the body giving a signal of something that needs reversal or healing in some way.
Right. I think there is a belief, and I think it's prevalent within the whole neurological community, is that once you have a brain injury, whatever aftermath, symptomatic aftermath, can never be reversed.
Oh,
I believe that's a generalization that cannot really be made, be claimed, because there are too many people who have completely experience reversal. Brain injuries like that, they will cause a readdressing, say, a reassignment of brain chemistry, and so many will have symptoms. Migraines being one. Migraines is a big one after brain injury.
Yes.
Like years and years and years, 4 years and years for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And it will change the brain chemistry. But we have to understand that once that brain injury has happened, it's happened. It's happened.
Yes.
It's the brain's different mechanism of chemistry that can then be addressed
and rerouted,
and rebalanced.
Yes.
And in that process, you have a reversal of not only symptoms, but that condition. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is you no longer actually suffer from the brain injury.
Yes.
Because you have addressed successfully the migraines caused from that brain injury.
Yes.
Suddenly, the brain injury is no longer
an injury, it's just a rerouting.
Yes, exactly.
It's a
change. It's a change.
So these things are important, what we're saying, because the first things that we listed, emotional, if you're a human being, you're going to have emotions. There will be stressful times. So that's a separate category that can be a trigger for a migraine. We also have the food and the things that you ingest or bring in from the outside. That would be another classification. And then the third thing that we're really talking about is an external environment where you have an injury or stuff like that. That's not something you can control. That's only something we can address and manage along the way, which I think the things that we're going to talk about to manage migraine are going to help anybody that suffers, including people with that category. Food you can avoid. If you know it causes it, a headache, for me, I know what causes it. There are accidental situations where you get into it. The magnesium is a great tip. I love that we have that in our back pocket. But we're going to try to avoid the triggers if it's food or something you smell or a smell or whatever. And then the other thing, I wish I could say we could try to avoid emotions and stress, but that's not happening for humans.
It's part of
So
life,
you know what?
especially now
That
with
would be it would be a cop out to say we that would be robotic in a sense. And we want to find balance. We want to actually take that situation where the stress causes a symptom that's negative, a migraine in this case. We want to use that as a tool and a gift and a pattern to show us that we need change. So we need to find a better way to manage our stress, not just address the migraine headache that establishes from it.
I have to interject this.
Do it.
I was reading, I wanted to find out today if migraines were associated with COVID-19.
That's a symptom of the onset.
So I was just curious.
Okay.
And so, you know how you go through different, well, I try to get the most, I would say, academic,
Yes.
sites as I possibly can.
Right.
So they're
Credible.
Credible, right. So, but everyone that I went through that I really felt were valid said that no, headaches have not been associated with CDC.
Right.
No, migraines are not associated with with COVID-19.
Yes.
However, there have been, a statistic of people, like 1 in 14 people having been tested positive for COVID did experience headaches.
Okay.
But headaches are not associated with COVID-19. So we have to ask ourselves, are they truly associated with COVID-19? Or is it the stress
Yes.
that has been causing headaches
the stress
from
worrying about
COVID-19?
Yes. It is the irony.
Yes. So anyway, that was mine.
I love it.
It's
I love that. So the point being, we need to manage our stress. If it's causing a migraine, no matter where the stress stems from, find a way to manage it.
Okay, so how many illnesses are not really associated with migraines, but migraines are experienced as a result of the stress of feeling the condition?
Yes, and really that reaches to the point that we're making. We're going to talk about the root causes of the migraine headache. And so with the 10 people that are all having the same headache, but they're experiencing different, they have different illnesses and underlying causes or injuries or what have you, the number one thing that we want to do is manage the pain from the headache, and then we can go deeper. And what I'm excited to share is what I've done to manage headaches through your formulas, and then the variety of different things that I added in with what is really more a part of Ayurvedic healing, which is naturopathic medicine loves
the Indians
Ayurveda.
Had that. I know India is rocks.
Really has it covered.
They
do rock. It's a beautiful
way
of thinking, and really Ayurvedic. I don't want to get off topic, but Ayurvedic healing involves having a routine, a daily self-care routine, which I think is so underrated, and it is so important to know every morning when you open your eyes to a new day how you're going to approach it. And I think those first 30 minutes of the day for me really set the tone for how I'm going to approach my day. And I think at this point in my life, I don't think about it. I just do what I do. I drink my greens. I take my supplements that, we're working on a really beautiful protocol right now. I drink my liposomal vitamin C. I have a routine for health care. Yes, and that in the midst of doing those things, I'm connecting with what my body needs. I'm connecting with my gratitude for the day, and so it's not just taking pills. It's not just a one protocol for migraines. It's really all the things to find balance and to care for ourselves properly and find gratitude in the midst of what some would consider the migraine to be a curse because we know it's very brutal. In my life, it's really been a blessing because it's a flag to say you need to do better. You need to step it up. These headaches are not correct, and they're really not welcome. They're not welcome in my life. I have work to do. They they're very inconvenient when they happen.
You know, Lori, I always have one of the mindsets that I got into and I adopted in my process of healing was I began, number one, to not feel victim of my condition, to not curse my condition, to not feel inadequate because of my condition.
Oh, that's good.
That my body and my condition at that time were vessels of learning and doing. And the true depth of my authenticity of myself was not dependent on my body. It was something deep, it was spiritual. But I also, in that time, I learned in all that thought process, I began to establish myself and my health as a child, as a baby. Because I was very maternal. I've always been very maternal. Mm-hmm. And I thought if I treat my health and my health condition, whatever that may be, at the time, whatever it is, you love it.
Yes.
If you give birth to a child who has a disability, you love it the same. You really love it on a very different level.
That's true.
And so I have always seen personal health crisis to be an opportunity to love, nurture, and grow a little child in the most rich, highest quality, with the highest amount of love as possible.
That's beautiful.
And so you can do that, and so in that process you begin to really bond in a healthy way with your condition.
Yes.
And you develop it out of its prior state.
Yes, you grow yourself out of it.
You grow yourself out of it.
I love it.
You grow. That's what healing is.
Yes.
It's not immediate fix.
No.
It's growing out of a condition.
Preach it, sister.
That's
beautiful.
it, right?
It is so true.
And so that's the difference between allopathic and naturopathic.
Yes.
In naturopathic, through natural means, you grow out of your condition.
I love that.
Now, with allopathic, you have wonderful band-aids.
We're suspended.
Wonderful band-aids that hide the symptoms.
Just suspend
the
body right where it is.
Hides the scratch.
Yes, that's true. So for our symptoms, we are grateful. For these headaches, we are grateful to the degree that we get to grow stronger as a direct result of having them. Because had we not, we would never know. We would have just stayed with our same routines and our same daily ways, or eating the same things, or exposing ourselves to the same, environmental toxins, if you will. Just have the same stress level, whatever it is. Without the headache, we make no change. But as a result of something that stands in your way, when you have it, you don't get to function until you address it. It demands attention. As a result, we are growing stronger. So yes, we embrace it. And to treat it, let's talk about how, if you have the onset of a migraine, I want to talk about how I treat it and where you've guided me. You made a formula.
I did.
You made a formula because that's what you do. You love the challenge of something.
I like chemistry. I really love chemistry. I didn't realize.
Yes, I know, until you started.
I started doing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this one is pain arrest. You've created this one around my migraine complaints.
This is actually an anti-inflammatory. I thought, what's the best way to a migraine is decreasing inflammation. So not only is it great for migraines? It's also great for a wide variety of inflammation.
Yes, a joint pain from autoimmune. Any kind of inflammation, really, this addresses it. So it doesn't just, the indications are not just for migraine, even though that's what we're talking about today. The indications of back pain.
I think, as we're talking, I think it would even be very helpful with allergies, because allergies, the sneezing,
Yes,
all of
that's a
this,
good point.
it's a result of inflammation.
Yes.
So, boy, I can't think of a situation where this would be.
And this, you know what, this not only manages the pain issue, but it also addresses the other symptoms of the actual migraine itself. Nausea is one of them. This has ginger. I love that because that's an instant anti-nausea. And a super powerful anti-inflammatory. So this one covers a lot of bases. It has amino acids, so it's actually going to
Brain chemistry.
Yes, strengthen brain chemistry. I want to jump in another beautiful formula that I also take when at the onset of a migraine headache. So I take the pain arrest, and I absolutely would not want to go without the neurovital in my life. It is a miraculous formula that when you initially designed it or put it together, it was the initial indications have been to address really brain energy. That is
Now
the
that's
word.
good. That's
Okay,
good.
and so
Brain frequency.
increased dopamine and a good mood. The indications for neurovital are a sort of antidepressant feeling. I have clients that tell me they felt their appetite diminish on it, not in a negative way, but the lack of cravings for bad foods, sweets, and things like that. So because the dopamine raises the dopamine.
Right.
A lot of times, dopamine in our lower, when it's not correctly balanced, when the endocrine system is off, that's one of the things affected serotonin, dopamine, and that causes us to want sugar, even though that's the worst thing you can have for inflammation. This addresses that. So energy, physical energy is delivered through neurovital, but it doesn't steal your energy, so there's no crash from it. It's not a big giant peak and a giant valley, which we would experience on, if we just took caffeine pills, synthetic caffeine pills or something, any kind of synthetic fat burners and some of those things on the market. Those things all give energy while you're on them, but they steal energy because when you're not taking them, you feel worse than you did before you started.
Right.
With the neurovital, you actually feel better than you did before you started, and you don't have to have it all the time or every day. If we take it away, you don't lose the benefits that you've already experienced, and you don't have any negative side effects for not taking it. That being said, an accidental thing happened for me. One morning, I took it along with my pain arrest. I was having a migraine headache. It was first thing in the morning, and I was really disappointed because I had a big day planned for myself, as I usually always do. And in 15 minutes, that headache was really knocked down. And so on a pain scale from 1 to 12, it was a 14 to start, and I got it down to a 3 in about 15 to 20 minutes. Taking these two things together, so I have the pain arrest, the neurovital, and a very strong cup of coffee to address the initial pain of a migraine headache. One of the really important herbal ingredients in the formula for pain is coltsfoot or butterbird. Love, love, love that to address migraine. Also, feverfew is included. And that opens up blood vessels, increases vascularity, dilates vessels so that the blood flow is there. That neurovital does the same. It's also a vascular dilator. So those two things together, and a cup of strong coffee, because caffeine helps the delivery.
Yes,
in a way.
circulation.
Yes, it speeds up everything. So that's now you have it. This is how to manage the pain naturopathically for the migraine headache. But that's such scratching the surface, because now we're talking about what are the root causes. And really that comes with what they have for me, autoimmune. That is an underlying cause. Autoimmune affects a lot of different major systems in the body, including, for us, we addressed liver toxicity with my body. That didn't happen overnight. It doesn't mean I did everything wrong. It doesn't really talk about anything I've done incorrect. It's just I'm 52. The human body needs detox every day, and if we get behind that power curve, it has to be addressed. It does build up, and it will demand change. And I believe a migraine headache is a pretty good way to get our attention. Yes, this is not correct. We won't live like this for very long. So, not without throwing a fit. But we've established liver toxicity to be something that we wanted to address with autoimmune. Also, kidney function is something with autoimmune. Yes, any detox of the immune system.
I think even how many women get
yes
migraines right before their periods? Okay, we know it's hormonal. We know that. But let's go a little bit further. Is it not the body's need to detoxify?
Yes.
To remove the stuff off?
Yes, because you know what? The hormones is a big trigger for me, and that's been something in my life. Estrogen, the rise and fall of estrogen. And what you're saying is the body was designed for that fluctuation to occur and be okay and be normal through it. It's a normal process. So when that normal process takes place and the body can't tolerate it, it can't metabolize the hormones that fluctuate, that is an indicator of something. Well, I would go out on a limb and say it's not just the endocrine system, it's the major systems of the body that we are talking about now, just liver, kidneys, gut health.
The elimination.
Yes.
All of everything, which I guess that is actually
everything, the gut.
Everything. Well, I'm thinking even from the time you eat, you begin to eliminate.
Yes.
It's, down to the saliva glands breaking down.
Yes, broken down.
Your elimination process happens the minute you put a piece of food in your mouth.
Yes.
So all of that has to work together for detoxification. There's detoxification required in every element of the digestive system.
Yes. All the time. All the time. Detox has to happen every day. In fact, after we fast all night, the detox.
Our cells will detoxify as they reproduce or swap off.
Yes. And every 7 years, we're a new human being.
Isn't that encouraging?
It is incredible.
That is encouraging. So let's take a devil's advocate, because I know it's probably going to go through somebody's mind. Okay, so let's assume that we know that our cells completely reproduce. Maybe even less. I've heard different statistics. They're between 3 and 7 years, but anyway. So let's just say 7 years. Every 7 years, we have a new body. And so the question would be, well, then why do we age?
Right.
Because every time we have a cycle,
a turnover of cells,
the body chemistry changes through age. Because every time it starts new, it doesn't start at the same level that it started before.
Right.
So we're not doing this.
Right.
We're doing this.
Yes.
We're hopping from 1 7-year increment. So every start line is going to be a little different through aging.
Yes.
But the good news is, if you are adept at it, you can shorten the span
of the renewal.
Exactly.
And give it what it needs, so that each renewal is not a copy of a copy.
Exactly.
But a copy of the original.
Exactly. So while you might have a 7-year increment, you may only realize 3 or 4 years. And that's how people age better.
Yes, more rapidly or more slowly.
Or more slowly.
More gracefully, as we say.
Yeah, it's because that point of start of renewal is not as broad.
Yes, cell turnover. That would be, and the things that would affect cell turnover, exercise, daily exercise, speeds up cell turnover. Um, the sloughing off and the renewal of happens both inside and out. But proper food, raising our vibration, a higher vibration, it seems the cells would recreate more efficiently, more effectively, and it would happen faster because it's more correct. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
We have to, we tread lightly in some of the things that we, the inner voice says this is feasible.
Right. Well, you're getting down like, you're
Yes.
expanding your focus of theory.
Yes.
You're testing your own theories.
Love that.
Everything I talk is theory.
Yes.
But that's many times I always test my theories, and sure enough,
That's how we bond.
about 75 to 80% of the time when I test my theories, it's been proven.
Yes. Yes.
By somebody.
Yes. You know what you're saying is correct in your own
mind, and so
experience.
you go to see if there's validation otherwise.
Yes.
And so I say not every time, but and sometimes I'll have a theory and there's nothing about it, and it's like a new. No,
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a theory I have to test.
Yes. So another thing that we have discussed in the past in regards to the migraine headaches. So just to recap, we've got a formula marriage here that on the NeuroVital. So Pain Arrest NeuroVital. It's on your website. We're actually going to post up what the website is.
It is. I'll go ahead and mention it. It's
yes, please do.
www. V is in Vitae, P is in Pondera, L is in life, B is in balance, N is in nutraceuticals.org. So it would be www.vpldn.org. And all of our 6 commercial products are out, and also the other list, which is the non-commercial list, is also there for you to select if you want to. If you would like one of those formulas, just call me and I'll be happy to guide you in that.
Yes. So I just want to mention, because we have them, and we're not going to take too much time on it because we are almost out of time. We've had some amazing coffee talks. Yes. But the Myelin Max and the Collageneric. So all 4 of these could feasibly go together to address underlying symptoms of a migraine headache.
That's a good autoimmune.
This is like right here, beautiful protocol. But the things I just added to it. So we've got Myelin Max. That is the myelin repair formula to repair the external sheath of the nerve.
Yes, you said it right. Say it again.
The external sheath of the nerve.
That's it.
Yes.
That's the myelin sheath.
That's the myelin sheath repair.
It's like an insulator of the nerve.
Yes.
What happens when you have an electrical wire
that's exposed?
That is exposed without that conduit. That's what happens to your nerves.
Then the message gets lost.
That's the inflammation.
It can't be. The myelin sheath is like a guide to the message.
Yes.
So without it, the message is lost.
It's lost, and the whole electrical system is out of control.
Haywire. Yes.
Everywhere. And that's where you get autoimmune. Exactly. Exactly. It's fibromyalgia. It's all of those.
Yes, it's everything on haywire. So that's myelin sheath repair. Let's say that has so many indications. We couldn't even list them all probably right now. But just off the top of my head, I'm thinking all the neurological disorders, ADD, autism, things like muscular dystrophy, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis.
This is my protocol for a client I have with muscular dystrophy.
Okay, this is absolutely gorgeous. Myelin repair. One thing that I've experienced too is in just a few people that I've tested your theories on, because we know our ways work, and I've taken it for different things, and I love it. But really, mood changes, mood enhancement, if you will. It's not a pill that you take that makes you feel like you can watch a pill. No, it's not like I can watch a train wreck and I don't care what I'm seeing. It's more like it elevates your ability to experience a good mood over time and create your own
Maybe your decision making
Yes.
processes are more
Solid.
solid. Very good.
Yes, so myelin mass is
responses.
amazing for so many different conditions, pre-existing and really for the future body that we don't have yet. That helps grow that baby up.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too that we're adding in here is the collagen. A collagen repair formula. That peptide formula was initially created by you for me for bodybuilding muscle growth, to expand and enhance muscle growth in a natural way, so that through a contest prep, I would not be dragged down or drawn down with energy and such like that, but that I would actually be healthier and stronger as a direct result of doing it. That is one of the harshest conditions that we've tested it under. And one thing that I experienced when I took it, it is a very powerful peptide formula. I also experienced muscle flexibility, increased muscle flexibility and pliability, increased muscle pliability. That was an unexpected indication that we were so happy to figure out, because people suffering the symptoms of, let's take Parkinson's or epilepsy, for those two things stick in my mind. The rigidity that's experienced, the rigidity of the muscles through those two disorders, this actually can alleviate those symptoms in a very powerful way. But this being a collagen formula, we hear people talking all the time about they put it in their coffee, they put collagen in their coffee. We're saying that's really not the most effective, if even it is effective, to get the collagen into the cells. It gets lost in the digestion of the gut.
That's why it's so much more important,
Yes.
so much more effective to have a collagen catalyst rather than just taking collagen.
Yes.
It's because what you're really doing is supporting and feeding the body to produce its own collagen,
Yes.
which is 100% usable form. Everybody talks about absorption.
Right.
The only real effective absorption is when your body makes its own
Yes.
within itself
Yes.
and utilizes it 100%.
Yes.
So collagenate,
Yes.
collagenate is a catalyst which simply nutritionally supports your own systems for creating
Yes.
collagen.
That's beautiful. So it's got many layers of positive indicators that we've just said, and probably so many more that we haven't. But these four things together, a beautiful. If you're suffering from migraine headaches, we've already talked about these two for managing the pain, and I feel like just adding in the collagen or the myelin max, that if someone were to start there.
Well, what you're doing is you are addressing, I would say, 75% of causation.
Of the initial, yes.
The original, yeah, you
Yes.
are.
So these are pretty good tools, I think, that we've talked about here today. One thing that I want to just maybe close with.
Sure.
I love that we are able to draw from our own personal experience in these particular things that we're talking about, and that we're able to encourage each other, that we can do it better. Right. We can always do it better. And that we're up for the challenge, and that sharing can actually make a difference in someone else's life. If there's only one person that hears this and they are suffering from migraines and they try these recommendations and it works for them, many lives are changed, because the migraine headache inhibits us from doing the work that we are meant to do.
Any condition is
Yes.
if it is keeping you from doing what you are using your God-given talent
Yes.
to fulfill your purpose, you are worth taking yourself as a little baby and
Yes.
finding out the cause. Feed, change the diapers,
Yes.
talk,
Yes.
love, nurture, accept, value, and honor.
I love that. So what you just said, is it's okay to put yourself first. In fact, it's incorrect if you don't. Because if we don't, and we don't create a whole well-being as to the best of our ability, which is a daily task, that is a responsibility each of us has in this body that carries us through. If we don't put ourselves first, it actually is more selfish than not, because the burden falls on the rest of the world around us to compensate for what we're not doing that we're supposed to be doing, that only we can do in our lives. And I love that you said you're worth it, that you're worth it. You're worth it. We are worth it. So,
What a child within you is
yeah.
worth the best parent.
And we are the best parents.
Yes, of
We're
course.
good parents.
Sure, we are good parents.
Yes, I love that. That's a great way to leave things.
Thank you so much, Lori, for joining me. And we're going to be continuing many conversations with you.
Yes, yes.
And let's see, we have a lot of conversations that I know that you'll want to.
Yes, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming out. That was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.